Barry O'Leary, please.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for indulging me, as I'm not a member of the Scrutiny Committee, but I am a Cabinet member for Enterprise and Finance, so I suppose the bill eventually ends up with me. And I represent the Evercreech ward, which has been mentioned, where the depot is. I've got a couple of questions, and I'll just get the questions out of the way for the sake of brevity. The first question is, Mickey, thank you very much. You mentioned, for the first time ever, I've heard 110% of employees being committed to something. But the serious question is, I know you say you're going to move to all kind of fully engaged staff and not contracted or agency staff. Mendip recently committed to being a living wage employer for all of the people it employs directly. And I would want to know what SWP's position on that is. That's got nothing to do with the failure of service, but well-paid people do tend to work well. That is the first question I have. The second question I have is in and around communications with people. I know we're trying very hard to get people to use modern communications, email. I know you guys engage heavily in social media to manage communities when there is a service failure. My particular ward has 3 different collection days, so my phone rings on 3 different days when 3 different collections get missed. But my ward also contains a lot of people who are not on social media because they're elderly and they're quite averse to it for many good reasons, and some are averse to it for mental health reasons as well. But I'm concerned that your social media policy or media platform seems to be operated by one person only. And I'd ask that be reviewed. I don't want to go into, I'm not naming the person, I don't want to do that, that's not fair to the person, and I know they're trying their best, but could you guys please reflect that social media is all ours, and I think it's unreasonable to put that pressure on your staff, but I thank them for what they've done, and I wanted to put that on the record. I want to thank them for what they've done. I think that's important. And then my last question is, the blue bag was kind of introduced, and it's a weighted bag with a Velcro top on it. But I see countless incidences when there are miscollections and rubbish is sitting for longer than intended, because I think the blue bag was always intended as a daily bag. In other words, it was put out in the morning at 6 a.m, uplifted by your crews and then left empty. But because people's advice has been to leave their rubbish out, what we're now seeing is this blue bag's contents opening out and getting blown all around the place, particularly as it's winter time. And that's actually adding to another contractor we work with, ID Verde, to have to clean it all up. What steps can be taken to reduce that, please? And I think that's quite an important point. They are my questions in general. I have lots of others. There's a lot of dissatisfaction with the missed services. I'm hoping it's going to end. But my last question, sorry, I did have another one I'd forgotten. You have taken over from another contractor and you're trying to ease out some bad practices that have come in terms of people uplifting off private property, off inaccessible areas. But could you please ensure your crew have training and engage with residents? And we've seen a lot of absolutist behaviour where rubbish has been collected from a certain spot for 10 years, 20 years. Some of these residents are elderly, and suddenly crews are just being very absolutist in what they can do. I don't know if that's because they're again, staff not familiar with the routes, but a gentler approach would help. And that's all my questions. And Chris, I really thank you for the time. Thank you very much indeed.
Chris, you're on mute. Sorry. Did you want me to come back quickly?
Yeah, three on the questions, please. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. Apologies if I misheard you, Barry. The 110% isn't because I'm a football manager wanting to give 110%. It's because staff obviously have to have leave, and with a very large workforce, there's a kind of statistically average level of absence. So what SUES have is a pool or a number of pools of staff to ensure that kind of level of absence for holiday, etc., is covered. The living wage one, I might have to send you it, unless Matt can remember the answer, because I know I've answered this before, maybe not to mend it. But I'm pretty confident in the answer, but I just want to double check it unless Matt knows it off by heart. Comms, social media, yes, we don't have one person. So one of the things we did ahead of the rollout of Recycle More was to kind of invest in that team. So we brought in a new comms and engagement manager. We've got a new customer service officer who is dedicated to working on the web. So you'll see him posting a lot during office hours. We've also brought in a digital kind of apprentice who does a lot of our proactive posting. But yeah, clearly we have members of staff who are passionate about what they do, passionate about the environment and passionate about customer service. And no matter what I do, some of them will want to respond to people that almost email in 24/7. So yeah, there are challenges there, but just wanted to reassure you that doesn't sit on one person's shoulders. Crew, blue bags, yeah, clearly blue bags weren't thought of with the current level of, COVID and the disruption that brings in mind. So I think the best thing we can do, which is obviously what we're working towards doing, is getting back to the point where there aren't any of those incompletions where people have to leave their bags out overnight or take them in and put them back out the next week. So I think avoiding failure in the first place is the critical thing. And hopefully you've seen that we have been it's not just talk, but there has been improvement over the last couple of weeks. And yeah, crew training and culture change clearly is an important thing. There will be crews doing different rounds in the past. What we saw in the past was a lot of things were ad hoc, they weren't recorded, and therefore that is what led to a different set of issues, that actually you got a change member of crew and suddenly something that had happened for a while stopped happening, etc. What we're trying to move towards is a more robust system where those different collection points are recorded on the in-cab device, which brings us greater resilience if we have to swap around crew members, so that people do receive that good customer service 100% of the time.